All right, here we are for objective 2, investigate the S3 bucket. This is my second day trying to record this one. As you can see here, this is a screenshot from the Discord. The SANS folks were having some issues with this challenge. It was working fine one day, and then the next weird issues when trying to run one of the scripts for the challenge. So I tried recording it yesterday. It wasn't working the way it should have because I had already solved it. I came back to record this video and script was not working as intended. So I went and dug into Discord and saw that I was not the only person having this problem. So if you did run into weird issues with this challenge at some point during near the beginning of the whole event, this may be why. I think they have fixed it. I just tested it and it seems to be working now, so I think we're all good. But obviously there's always the potential to just take this offline into a VM and do this, but I wanted to wait for it to be working to record this video and show you guys through the browser. So we'll just jump right into it, though. This is for the second objective again with Shinny, the elf. So if we go back into the game here, it's a lot of people here, but it's this table here. If you click on it, it'll open up the challenge. But first, let's take a look at some of the hints we got. So if you've already completed the Krigl kiosk video, or challenge, I should say, I made a video on it. You can go watch that if you're stuck. You will get some more hints from Shinny. So it's always good to get those hints, I think, before you start a challenge. That way you get the most background knowledge before you start. So we have several hints here. Let's see. So we've got this one. Talks about finding the package file or file name package, and then also gives a link to a talk which Josh Wright gave on Open S3 buckets. Pretty brief, high-level overview of S3, what a bucket is, permissions, stuff like that. Good talk. So if you're new to S3, definitely give that a watch. Come down here. Again, just leads to a news article about Open S3 buckets. This is a problem that still exists in the real world today. Is just not validating or checking permissions and allowing the public to see stuff that shouldn't be public. Okay, so this leads to somebody's blog about finding Open S3 buckets. It's good to give this a read through. And then we have a couple more here. Okay, so this is a key part. So SANS Wrapper 3000 is pretty buggy. It uses several compression tools, binary to ASCII conversion, and other tools to wrap packages. So this relates back to the file that we're trying to find, which is that package file. And then we get this final one here, which is a link to the same blog with a tool called Bucket Finder, written in Ruby, that will enumerate those public buckets that we can access and download files from that are not protected. So this is actually given to you in the challenge. So we'll go ahead and exit our badge here and launch the terminal. And if we do an ls, we can see we have Bucket Finder. But first, some of the notes up here. It's mentioning this Wrapper 3000 thing again in green, so that's a pretty important detail. Can you find the missing package and unwrap it all the way? So we need to get this package file. Presumably it's going to be in an S3 bucket that we have to enumerate and then download from and then unwrap it, whatever that means. Then some hints here using the file command to identify what exactly a file is, what type it is. Even in Linux, if it doesn't have to have extensions, whereas Windows usually you have to have a certain extension for a file to act a certain way, like an executable usually needs .exe, or PDF needs .pdf to open in most PDF viewers or be recognized as such. Unix is different, doesn't need file extension, so you can use file to help determine. Usually looks at the header of the actual file and tries to pick out, what is this actually representing, or is it just ASCII text or a binary blob? Okay, and then this, I'm probably not saying this right, but apropos This is a cool command to search man pages for certain text. So it's kind of like grepping through all the man pages that exist on the system. This will come in handy when we start to unwrap this package. So we have a tips file. We should definitely cat that out just to see what's inside of it. If you need an editor, you can run nano or vim. Everything you need to solve this challenge is provided here, which, yes, true. So if we go into Bucket Finder, oops, I can't type today. Also, terminal's kind of laggy. So cd Bucket Finder. Okay. So we get a README, Bucket Finder.ruby, and a word list. So if we cat word list, we get a couple of associated words. Kringle, Castle, Wrapper, and Santa. So let's run Bucket Finder just to see what it's about. Okay, so we provide a word list to it. We have some options here that we can prepend. But the big one is specifying a word list, and then it's going to go and test to see if those S3 buckets are open. Looks like we can specify a flag here to download files, obviously if that bucket is found to be open. So before we do that, let's just test it against the word list that they give us and see what happens. So we get bucket found but access denied. Okay, so we don't care about that. We're looking for open buckets. But here we get, okay, so for, oh, we get a redirect to Santa. Okay, but that one is still access denied. Okay, so all of these are access denied. For the purpose of this video, to save time, we keep seeing this wrapper 3000 reference, and that, you know, being in green and just seeing it in the hints and stuff too, that was in my mind going through this challenge. And that was actually the first thing I tried beyond just running the word list. So let's just do that. Let's go ahead and add wrapper 3000 to this. 1000. And then we'll run Bucket Finder again. And it says bucket found wrapper 3000 public wrapper 3000. And there we go. So there's a public bucket called wrapper 3000 and a file in there called package, which is exactly what we're looking for. So what we'll do now is we'll give it the -d flag, which is going to download that file to our local directory here. Okay, downloaded. So it looks like it downloaded it. Great. So let's do an ls here. Okay, so it made a directory. So we'll go ahead and cd into that, and now we have package. Okay, so now we're at the point where if we look at our badge here, and you know what, I just exited that, which I think ruined my, I just had to repeat what I just did, which is fine. But if we go to objectives here, we can see that the overall goal is to get the text string inside of the package. So it keeps saying we have to unwrap this file, and then that once we unwrap it all the way, we should end up with a text string that we can input. Now, obviously, I've already solved this challenge, but for the purposes of you going through this the first time, you won't see the check mark. You'll see where you would input here. So we need a plain text readable string, probably somewhat related to the challenge. So let's go out of here back into the challenge, and let's try to get that string from the file package. So I just have to repeat really quick the steps that I took, which is fine. Yep, word list. We'll just do wrapper 3000. Oh man, can't type today. It's also kind of laggy, but whatever. All right. -d word list. Downloaded. Package. Okay. So now let's run file on package, see what we get. It says ASCII text, so let's cat it out. Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of, ASCII printable characters. None of it's, human readable. The first thing I think whenever I see stuff like this, where it's all human readable text, letters and numbers, and some special characters. The first thing I always think is base 64. So what we're going to do is just cat this, pipe it into base 64 and try decoding it and see if we get anything. And it looks like we do. So we got some unprintable characters here, these question marks, which makes me think this is a binary file. And then we can see some printable characters such as this package.txt. It just looks like a very compressed type of file here. So that being said, let's just put this out into package.txt.uppercase z.xz.xxd.tar.bz2. Oh man, this is all screwed up. .z.xc.xxd.tar.bz2. Okay, so what we've done is this package file seemed to have been a base 64 encoded string. We've decoded that and then sent that output of the decoded base 64 into a new file. And we could discern from the output of the base 64 decoded string the file name, which appears to be this. I know not to include the UT because .bz2 appears to be that I know that as a compression, a compressed file extension. bz2 ut doesn't make sense to me. But to verify my hunch, I can just run file on that package.txt blah blah blah, and we can see that it is a zip archive data. So chances are, yeah, that's the right file extension. So now we're at the point here where we've got basically, I don't necessarily want to call it recursive, but we've got multiple layers of like wrapping or compressing or whatever you want to call it. We'll call it wrapping for now. So the first step would be to deal with this BZ2. So we can use the apropos command to search for BZ2 and see what sort of commands can deal with that. And it looks like none. So let's do a search. Let's just search for BZ2. How to compress a BZ2 file. So bzip2 seems to be a command. So let's go back here and let's do a search for bzip2. Okay, and so we get some commands back here. So let's try bzip2, and let's do a search for decompress. Okay. So if we do b unzip2, we can do that. Or we can provide -d. So let's do bzip2-d, and we'll run this on package.txt. All of that. Okay, so it's saying that it's not a bzip2 file. So let's run file again on this. Zip archive. Okay, so this whole thing is probably zipped. That's the first layer, zip, then bzip2. So let's try, I know unzip will unzip a zip archive. So let's try that first and see what happens. Do we want to replace that file? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now let's run file against the now unzipped wrapped package. Okay, so now we're getting bzip2. Okay, so let's do bzip2-d txt. Let's do an ls here. Okay, so now we are slowly peeling back or unwrapping the different layers to this file. So now we're at a .tar. So let's run file on this, make sure it is indeed a tar archive. It is. Cool. So we can use the tar command for that. we're going to do dash X for extract, and V is, I believe, verbose, and F, I actually don't remember what. No, man. Okay. Don't remember what dash F does again. Oh, for file. I think that's to specify file. Yep. Okay. So yeah, so you could do tar dash X F, and that'll extract a tar archive from a existing file. So dash X F package dot all the way to dot tar. Do another ls. Now we get, okay, so now we've unwrapped another step. So now we're at package.txt .c.xc.xxd. So let's do a file command on that and see what xxd is. ASCII text, okay, let's cat that out. And so this looks like a hex dump of sorts. Now the important thing to note is with these ASCII hex dumps, there are typically two, maybe more types of these dumps, but one of them, an important detail to note, is this has the line numbers in it. Some hex dumps you can specify to not have line dumps. So I propose let's try to do a search for xxd. Man, I cannot type. Okay, so xxd command, so we want to, I don't know, we want to do like a reverse. Oh, make a hex dump or do the reverse, okay. Dash R, revert, reverse operation. Okay. Yeah, so if this did not have the line numbers in it, we'd want to specify P to do a plain hex dump style, but it does have the line numbers, which is going to be your default setting, so we don't have to provide dash P. So xxd dash R should go ahead and revert that dump back into binary, which will give us our unwrap into the next step. So let's do cat package, pipe that into xxd, and then do the dash R flag for revert. And then that looks like binary, so that's good. And then we'll pipe that out into package.txt.z.xz, which is that next step. There, okay. So now let's do a file package.txt.z.xz, see what we get. xz compressed data, okay, so that looks good. So now let's do a search for what xz is. XZ, compress or decompress XZ and LZMA files. So XZ compression. I'm unaware of what this is. Free software command line, lossless data compressors. Achieves higher compression than alternatives like gzip and bzip2. Okay. So now we want to extract this. So let's do man XZ and search for, decompress here. UnXZ is equivalent to XZ-decompress. Perfect. That's all we need to know. So quit. So let's do unxz package.txt.z.xz. Do an ls, and now we are down to the next step, almost the last step here. Let's do a file on package.txt.z and .z, so compressed data 16 bits. Let's do a search on what this is. .z normally means simple Unix compression. So try uncompress. simple Unix compression. Uncompress, created by compress. Compress. We'll have a .z extension, is a compressed file format that is popular on Unix systems. Here, using the lumpool-ziv coding algorithm. Cool. Okay, so we need to run the uncompressed command on package.txt.z. And this might be our last step. So let's just cat out package.txt, see what we get here. And boom, there you go. So now we are finally, we've unwrapped all the steps to this crazy little file, this crazy package file, and we've gotten our string. So you can take this, copy it, and then go back to your badge, go into objectives, and submit that into investigate S3 bucket. And that will solve the challenge. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments, if anything didn't make sense, and we'll see you in the next video.